You will eat the bugs, yeah? And you will love it. Victoria says no to the Nazi flag. Nazis in Victoria who intentionally fly their flag could face 1 year in jail or be fined $22,000 or both. Now, a long time ago, the Nazis did very bad things. They persecuted people for a number of reasons, and we would never do any of that here in Victoria, Australia. We would never stop people from practicing their religion. And we would never encourage signs on shops that segregate. We would never have brown shirts that went after your small business, because we know that your job and your business feeds your family and keeps a roof over your heads. It's essential, isn't it, Dan Andrews?
Many non-essential activities have been shut down. Do it or Victorians will die.
And this bloke is really about human rights.
This is not about human rights.
Thank God that was a long time ago. So take heed, Nazis. It's 1 year in prison if you fly the Nazi flag. And also 10 years in prison if you speak up about not wanting your son to chop off his penis or your daughter to have a double mastectomy before they're allowed to legally drive. But they're basically Nazis anyway, so that's okay. Here in Victoria, Australia, we would never try and stop parents from parenting, control what the population was allowed to say or how to think, or even arrest you if they thought that you were thinking about doing something that you're not supposed to be thinking about. Because with a system like that, you could even end up with controlling the way that people breathe. Banning the Nazi flag only took 7 short decades. It has absolutely nothing to do with introducing laws which appease to 99.99% of the population, or creating legislation that allows for the banning of other symbols or grassroots movements, you bunch of conspiracy theorists. Unlike any regime tucked away neatly in history in some far-off country and with hindsight identified as a very, very bad thing, we would never jail dissident leaders of grassroots movements and then free them on the basis that they disband their grassroots movement that preaches something as ridiculous as liberty and freedom. And we would never try something as shallow as brushing it under the carpet come election time and pretending that none of it ever happened. Although we saw flags from many, many, many different countries during the Melbourne protests of 2021, which maybe could have been used to celebrate multiculturalism, but no, it was against the government, so bad. Oh, look at all those flags. Send them to jail. Bloody Nazis. There was one flag that we certainly never saw. Actually, there was another flag that we never saw. Dan's favourite flag, the Chinese Communist flag. Although the communists and socialists didn't join in on the protests against government overreach and the loss of liberties for workers, it's important to remember that they came out in seriously small numbers to protest against anyone protesting against big government. You will drive electric cars, yeah? Those socialists and communists, along with mainstream media, called everybody neo-Nazis. You know, all the people protesting at the shrine dedicated to those who fought the Nazis. And they found all the proof they needed by using footage of the protest at the shrine. The footage they used was from a famous neo-Nazi, Rukshan. Let's have a look at their proof.
Why does this lady tell us to go back to our own country? You said go back to your own country.
Oh, so obvious. I mean, thank God we've banned the Nazi flag. Although these hammer and sickle flag-waving commies didn't once produce the Chinese Communist flag, the Victorian police were able to take up the slack by proudly displaying it above the Box Hill police station so that everyone can see just how multicultural and inclusive we really are. So if you're a Uyghur Muslim, a Chinese Christian, a Falun Gong practitioner, a Hong Kongese, if something bad happens to you, just make sure that you go to the Box Hill police station for help. After 2020 and 2021, with all the exciting new experiences the Victorians witnessed, it makes sense that we were just voted the most livable city in Australia. Unfortunately, we've been downgraded from the world's most livable city. It was probably because of all the Nazi flags that were flying around the place. But heck, We've put a stop to that now. To support more of these videos, please purchase my new Hammer and Sickle Gay Pride Che Guevara t-shirt made in communist China by Chinese political dissidents. China, 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 China. Nazis.